A while back, I made a video where I ranked all of the new Super Mario Bros. Series. So how about I one-up that video and rank all the speedrun categories within the new Super Mario Bros. Games. Most people who watch Mario speedruns are probably familiar with the any percent category, where you beat the game as fast as you can. But what some people don't know is that new Super Mario Bros. Games as a whole all have a variety of different categories, and they all feature their own variety in content and challenges that always brings in a ton of flavor within these games. So I'm going to be going around and I am going to be looking at the leaderboards of all 5 of these games and rank them in a tier list. This will also include the main categories as well as some of the ones that are listed under miscellaneous. Another thing to note is I will not be including a category that is known as low percent, which is basically a category where you beat the game without using any power-ups, because I consider those categories more of a challenge and not as an actual thing that you should do as fast as you can. And then I will also not be including the category extension boards. I'm going to be ranking these categories from S through F, S being the best, F being worse. And for some of these categories, I will be putting them under a very special tier list called Why Does It Exist? Because, let me tell you something, I've been around in the community for over 5.5 years, and I am an active runner / viewer of these games, and I look through all of the leaderboards of these games, and I look at some of the categories, and some of these categories don't need to exist, and especially some of these categories don't deserve to be part of the main tab on the leaderboards. Alright, let's go ahead and begin here. Starting off with New Super Mario Bros. There are 3 main categories and 2 miscellaneous categories. Let's go ahead and start off with the OG category that everybody knows, any percent. If it was 2016, then C, but nowadays, any percent is an F tier. I don't like the way any percent looks anymore. We have RNG manipulation, where you have to play the first level very specifically in order to manipulate a blue shell, which is not that bad, but then you get to 8-2, and 8-2 has a very dumb trick midway through the level, where you have to do a series of complex inputs in order to save like 3 or 4 seconds or something like that. It's such a stupid trick. I hate that people do this in runs now. Cannonless. Okay, first of all, I hate that this is called cannonless and not warpless. It should be called warpless. The namesake makes more sense to call it warpless. Warpless is an F tier, which will sound very surprising to a lot of people, as I really like warpless across the entire new Super Mario Bros. Series, but warpless is really bad in this game. In the warpless route, it's very straightforward, and then you get to the end of World 5, where you have to beat Petey Piranha as Mini Mario in order to access World 7, because World 7 saves like 10 minutes over doing World 6, because in World 6 you cannot sequence break that world at all. To do World 7 as fast as you can is really hard, because you have to do the entirety of World 7 as Mini Mario. So that means from 5 Castle all the way up to the end of World 7, you have to keep your mini shroom, and if you die, it's over. And there's no other way to fix this route unless you can somehow find a mushroom house, which by then you're just already losing a ton of time, and it just ruins everything. And if you know how the mini mushroom works, you'll know that it's not a very good power-up. 100%, I'm gonna have to look at a run here, because I know things have changed since the last time I've seen a full 100% run, so I'm gonna see how much it changed. Okay, I skimmed through the run. Now, as a concept, I personally really love 100% categories in most speedruns, but as a category itself to this game, I'm going to give it a D tier. When I watched you a full 100% run, it wasn't that bad, but now that I've skimmed through the run, it is definitely gotten worse. The route's much harder. There's a really stupid strat that for a very long time nobody has done except for tasks. Now people are starting to do it in runs in order to avoid a double visit in 7-1, and it is so bad. If I were to run 100%, I would just take the L and double visit. There's also so many other things that goes into this run, like specific power-ups. Like, you have to have specific power-ups in order to make this route work, and to keep those power-ups is so difficult. Okay, no secret exits. Let me go through a run here real quick. I know it's a little bit different than Warpless. I'll give this category a C. It's definitely a more approachable category than Warpless, but the fact that it's just Warpless, but just a little bit slower, and you see more of the worlds, I'm not really a fan of this kind of concept. I mainly run Warpless and 100%, but it's nice that some of these side categories exist for people who want to expand outside of any percent Warpless and 100%. All levels, I'll say also C, but higher than no secret exits, because all levels in this game is actually a pretty cool concept, because you do every level, and this is the only new Super Mario Bros. Game where it does not have a bonus world that you unlock at the end of the game. So if you want to basically see every level, but you don't feel like collecting everything, then this is a pretty nice category. Don't see myself really taking it that seriously. Alright, let's move on to the new Super Mario Bros. Wii leaderboards and see what we got here. Any percent. Straight F tier, dude. Canonless. Again, why is this called Canonless? It should be called Warpless. Warpless is a much better name than Canonless. Canonless is the name of a Mario 64 trick. This category is a D tier. There's a lot of hard levels, and many of the hard levels in Warpless feature really difficult tricks that you have to nail in order to compete with most of the top runs. I remember when I first started learning this category, I really wanted to compete with the top runners, but the more I kept running the game, the more I kept thinking that I really am not enjoying running this game, and I was just over it. I'd rather not force myself to play something that I do not enjoy. 100%. D tier. Again, 100% is a really cool concept, but 100% in New Super Mario Bros. Wii is really bad. It's under the same issue of New Super Mario Bros. 100%, where the route's not going to work if you don't have the right power-ups going into the right levels. And if you are not going into a single Toad House just to have a safer power-up route, then you're very much going to lose a lot of minutes if your run goes poorly. No World 5, C, because it is a better beginner category than any percent. You take away World 5 in order to avoid some of the difficult tricks that World 5 has. But I don't see myself actually getting into it because I'm not into arbitrary rule sets like this. All regular exits, why does it exist? It's all levels without getting any of the star coins, but it's arbitrary because you are excluding the 8 levels of Star World because you can't do them without getting all of the star coins within all of the worlds. But even if you include the Star World levels, then you are doing 100%, but excluding the star coins that you get in World 9. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to categories of New Super Mario Bros. 2, where I can actually give some positive grades on some of these categories. Any percent. F tier. Not because it's hard, but why the heck are there so many autoscrollers? This category is literally unwatchable. This category is only fun when you get to World 6, but then even then, you have to get past 2/3 of the run in order to get to World 6. And if you mess up in World 6 and you have to reset, then you gotta play through all of those autoscrollers, which are all really boring, in order to get to World 6. And the fact that this is even the first category that you see on this leaderboard is a big no-no. All these other categories deserve to be in the front of any percent. Warpless. Yeah, look at this. For some reason, this is the only game where they get Warpless correct. If you're just doing runs of this category, then B tier. But if you're grinding it out, then C tier. It's definitely better than any percent, as the ratio between autoscrollers and non-autoscrollers is significantly better in Warpless. But when you start to get really good at some of the longer categories, then Warpless starts to get kind of bland to grind out. No secret exits. Why does it exist? And the fact that this is even right here and not here is a huge crime against humanity. It's literally Warpless, but like slower. It does not need to exist. And I'm not the only one who thinks that this does not need to exist. 100%. S tier. When all the strats go well in this run, you just look so cool. You get to basically just show off to the viewers. And I like categories where you get to look cool. in front of people who have never seen a run of the game. And I feel like 100% just does a perfect job at showing off all of the tricks and strategies that this game is capable of showing off. And I think more people should just run 100%. Seriously, man. Come on, man. When you get good at this category, then all these other categories just pale in comparison to 100%. All castles, A tier. You might think that all castles is just warpless, but you do all 9 of the worlds. But the strats that you do in all castles are way better than the strats in warpless, as you get some of the star coins in order to unlock Star World, and the strats to get those star coins are so cool. And if you're showing off New Super Mario Bros. 2 in like a marathon of something, then all castles is a perfect marathon showcase, because it gives you a nice package of tricks that you can pull off in this game. Alright, it is now time to move on to New Super Mario Bros. U, and I am not excited to look at some of these New Super Mario Bros. U categories. Any percent, straight F tier. 7 Towers a bad level, and 8 Castles a really bad level for very obvious reasons that I don't need to explain if you've seen a run of New Super Mario Bros. U. All Castles would be a D tier, but I'm taking it down to an F tier. All Castles is not a very good category anymore. Ever since I and a few other people found out that catching the first 2 Nabbits saves time in order to skip the water levels in World 3, and it does not make the category interesting to me anymore. On top of having to do 7 Tower and 8 Castle, 100%. A tier. This is the only good category of New Super Mario Bros. U. 7 Tower is still hard to do, but 8 Castle is much easier to do because you do 8 Castle with a PA core. So if you are going to mess up the elevator skip, then it's really easy to save yourself. The category itself has hard tricks still, but in this category, it's at least very easy to save yourself if you have a bad run. And now, finally, we got New Super Luigi U categories. And I'm going to genuinely rank these because I know what many people are going to say. Any percent, D tier. Most of the levels that you have to grind out that are exclusive to any percent are not very fun to grind. And this category has gone really worse, that it's really demotivated me from continuing the grind any percent. 1-2 now done as Nabbits, and it requires a really precise jump, and I don't like it. 5 Tower skip has a harder strat in it, and I absolutely hate that. I tried learning it, I really felt like my hands were gonna break. And then finally, 7-1 as Nabbit is just so stupid. All Castles, to do it, I would say B tier, but to grind it out, I would say C- tier. The ratio between easy and hard levels is much greater in All Castles, so it's definitely a much easier category to do than any percent, but to grind it out is really annoying because you have to get past the big RNG section in World 2, and if you don't get the good RNG in World 2, then you just reset the run, and sometimes you can just take hours on just World 2 alone, and it gets really boring to grind out. And even when you do get past the RNG section on a good run, then you have to play the rest of the game really well in order to capitalize on the good RNG until you get to World 7, where you have another big RNG section in 7 Tower, and then you just have to grind both RNG sections all over again if you don't get the good luck in 7 Tower. 100%? A tier. Now technically, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe exists, but New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe speedruns are basically the same as New Super Mario Bros. U speedruns, so I am not going to include those in this video. So, what did you think of this tier list? Were there things that you agreed with or disagreed with about some of these categories? Are you a speedrunner of some of these categories? And what do you think of these categories? Let me know in the comment section below. And let me know what kinds of other ranking videos you would like to see on this channel, as I would really like to expand this channel more with more content. Leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next video on MJ Plays.